What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Ludens Report for August 18, 2021. We are back with your regular hosts, me, Moses, and my friend Ricky. How you doing, Ricky?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
What you been playing? What you been playing, man?
A bunch of random stuff. Been playing Dark Souls. Recently I've been doing a whip only run. And then
you haven't finished that yet?
No. I'm pretty close though. I'm pretty close. I still want to finish that on stream. And then today I started playing Judgment, so only an hour into the game. So we'll see.
How you liking it so far?
Pretty good. Combat is more or less the same as Yakuza. It takes place in the same town as well, Kamurocho, so it's basically Yakuza but different characters.
But it's made by the same people that made Yakuza.
It's made by the same team.
And plays the same as... I've actually never played a single Yakuza.
Oh, you should, man. You should. It's kind of open world, but it's a lot more condensed.
Yeah.
Like, it's the world is smaller compared to other open world, but there's a lot more to do in there. The density of the map, there's a lot more. So I recommend it. Very much recommend it.
Because there's a lot of Yakuza games, and I saw Judgment. I was like, okay, there's only one of those. I should probably start with that.
Yeah, you can start with that. Well, second one is coming soon. Or if for Yakuza, you can probably start off 0 or 7 or Like a Dragon. I feel like those two are a good starting point.
I heard that all of the Yakuza games are actually on Game Pass. Is that true? I don't know if you checked.
On Game Pass, quite a lot of them. Most of the remaster or whatnot, it's all on Game Pass.
I don't know if I saw it or read it somewhere, but I saw it in passing. It's like, oh, all the Yakuza games are on Game Pass. It's like, okay, another point for Game Pass. Because for someone like me that's never played a single Yakuza game, that would be perfect. Because I'm not about to buy 9 games.
Pretty much. Although I think Judgment is not on Game Pass. I don't remember.
But you said that you're playing that on PlayStation Now.
Yes, I got PS Now. I'm gonna try for 1 month and see what happens. Kind of curious to see how good it is. These people kept talking about Game Pass, and no one's really talking about PS Now. So I feel like as a PS5 or Sony supporter, I really should experience this and give people an honest, unbiased feedback.
Unbiased.
Really.
You say that because you had Game Pass as well?
I had Game Pass for 1 month.
Okay, so you have Game Pass for 1 month and you have PlayStation Now for 1 month.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a comparison video on YouTube.
Gonna have it.
We'll have a podcast about it. We'll have Ricky's thoughts on Game Pass, PlayStation Now, and future game service streaming.
Although, just let me put this out there before some people get the wrong idea. I got the Game Pass last year, and I only had it for 1 month. So that should be, a good enough indication as to what I think about it.
Okay. You can read it between the lines there. For me, I've actually I picked up Returnal again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I remember talking about how that was my game of the year. I forgot what conversation we had about it, but it was on stream. Someone asked me what my game of the year is so far. It was either Returnal or Ratchet and Clank. Part. And in my head, thinking it over for the question, I was coming back to Returnal because ever since I finished it and credits rolled for the third time because it's a roguelite, and you can't just go through complete your run once for a roguelite and just stop there.
You got to play it multiple times.
Especially for Returnal, its story is shrouded in mystery, and it keeps going. But ever since I stopped that and moved on to other games, I've always had an itch to go back to the game because the gameplay was that good. It was that addicting. And I've hopped back into it, and yeah, it plays just as good as before. And they've patched it and included a bunch of stuff that was supposed to be on launch that I didn't get to experience before. When I played it, there was this feature where you come across other players' bodies.
Yeah,
And
there is that, right? Yeah.
yeah, and then you can like avenge them to get certain resources, or you can scavenge their body. And I thought that was a pretty cool thing to come back to and experience again, because I went through the whole game, didn't see a single dead body on the floor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they just recently put that back in. I don't know if they took it out or whatever.
So I think I remember seeing some other streams where people did encounter like some random bodies.
I mean, there are random bodies for the lore of the game.
Oh, but not
like
other players.
players' bodies. Like you'll see their actual PlayStation name and like how they died.
So they kind of like a Dark Souls type mechanic.
Exactly. Except that there's an option, you can either avenge them or scavenge their body for like an item.
Yeah, I feel like that type of mechanic's been done in other games as well. I want to say stuff like God Eater or Soul Sacrifice. I can't remember, but there are games like that does that too.
Yeah. After playing
after
playing Returnal, like I have this itch to play roguelites and roguelikes. And we're gonna talk about one on our report.
Okay,
so let's get started with our report.
We're getting sidetracked.
For those, for Ricky, he's streaming right now. For those who are tuning in, we are recording our Ludens Query report. It seems to have turned into a weekly report. We've been doing it like at least once a week.
At least once, so sometimes twice a week, depending on how many news out there.
Yeah. So the premise of this show is I look at the news because I'm always on Twitter, I'm always on Reddit, I'm always browsing through the news and the gaming industry and just seeing what's popping. And Ricky doesn't do that at all.
I try to avoid Twitter. Too much drama out there, man.
That's smart.
It's just frustrating. So I was like, all right, that's why I'm completely out of touch with any news out there.
Yeah. He's grumpy as it is.
I wouldn't know what's like. I wouldn't know if there's like a zombie apocalypse going on right now. There could be zombies knocking on my door. I wouldn't even know.
Yeah. So the premise of the show is I come up with the news and I tell it to Ricky and he gets updated and he has his own takes on it. And if you've been watching us frequently and been a regular on our show, then you can see why I like talking to this guy. He has a lot of interesting takes that sometimes they just come out of left field, and I'm just like, that's why we have this podcast. We've been talking about doing this for a long time, and here we are. So for today, August 18th, 2021.
What's on the menu today?
We got 4 items on the Ludens Query report.
All right.
First up, we have Abandoned. Talking about Abandoned again. Abandoned creator Hassan Karaman sets the record straight. Number two on the report, Last of Us Battle Royale.
What?
Number 3.
Battle Royale? Okay, well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Number 3 on our report, Outriders hasn't broken even.
Oh no. Square Enix. That's Square Enix, right? Yeah. Square Enix.
Square Enix.
No.
No. And number 4, 93% of Hades' box sales are on PlayStation, according to the UK charts.
Hades, 93% of box sales is on PlayStation. Okay, I can see why.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
But yeah, our first item on the agenda, Abandoned creator Hassan Karaman had an interview with news outlet NME. I'm not too familiar with them, but he had an extensive interview. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he does talk about everything that's been going on and surrounding Blue Box Studios. And I have the interview right here, and hopefully you can see it. Can you see it, Ricky?
I can see it.
Okay.
Abandoned. It disappeared.
It disappeared? What about now?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Okay. Yeah, we're recording live, and sometimes things happen, technical difficulties. We're not experts here, so. So
just run with it.
NME had an interview with Abandoned creator Hassan Karaman. He says it's not really a horror game. It's not what people think. Blue Box Studios
After all this time? Okay, sorry.
Hassan Karaman takes us inside the mysterious PS5 shooter. This is written by Ryan Leston on the 16th of August, 2021. And this is a picture.
The article is kind of blurry on my end, so.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's alright. Just go for it.
Yeah. That's Discord's fault here. It's 720p. Anyway, this is Hassan Karaman, if you didn't know.
That's who we can blame.
The face of Blue Box Studios. If you've been regular, if you browse Twitter in the past couple weeks, you can see some people actually put Hideo Kojima's face on top of this picture. They have a little blended picture of Hideo Kojima's face on top of this. Anyway, so Ryan Leston writes, the conspiracies surrounding Abandon are truly spectacular. We've seen Hideo Kojima linked to the game, while fans speculate that it could be the next Silent Hill or even a new Metal Gear. That couldn't be further from the truth. Abandon creator Hassan Karaman struggles to deal with this on a daily basis. Now he wants to set the record straight. Abandon definitely isn't a Silent Hill game, and NME has the proof. Abandon is a shooter/survival game, he told NME. It has some horror elements in it, but it's not really a horror game. It's not what people think, that it's Silent Hill. End quote. In fact, we know exactly what it is. Hassan gave us an exclusive rundown of Abandoned, including plot details, how it plays, just about everything we could ever want to know. We can finally debunk those rumors. It's not a Silent Hill game. It's not Metal Gear. After giving us a lengthy breakdown of the game's plot, Hassan asked us to keep it to ourselves. And here I am reading it. But one thing we can say is that Abandon is absolutely not what you think it is. Not even close. Quote, at first we said it was going to be an open world game. He explained. But with the high quality graphics we have now, we had to sacrifice that. It's not really open world anymore. It's a linear story, end quote. Abandon. Actually, I'm not going to read this. Anyway, I'll read it just a little bit. Abandon follows the story of Jason Longfield after he awakes in a strange forest. That much was revealed already in PlayStation blog when the game was first announced. Sinister overtones and some creepy looking trees instantly suggest that Abandon is some sort of survival horror. But after discussing Jason's backstory at length, it's clear that this isn't a horror game at all. It's something else entirely. Quote, the special thing about Abandon is that it has a new game mechanic. End quote. Karaman has touched on this before. Everything you do in the game has an effect on the player character. If you sprint, Jason gets out of breath, and that in turn affects his aim. If he's afraid, he'll become nervous, and this will all affect how you're able to play. And it goes on, but basically he does say that it's not at all what people say it is. And he even talks about the whole thing with Kojima surrounding Blue Box Studios. Karaman insists that Hideo Kojima is not involved with Abandon. No, he said when asked directly. No, absolutely not. But Kojima himself hasn't exactly helped matters. Quote, a few days ago, Hideo Kojima posted on Twitter a doll of himself where he was standing with a zipped shut mouth on a blue box, and he was really vague with it, said Karaman. Because of that, a lot of people assume that he was working on a real-time experience. This was after the delay, and he said, I wanted to change a few frames on the trailer, but everyone stay calm. I think it was his way of trying to manage the craziness to keep everyone calm, but other than that, we don't really work with Kojima. And it goes on. And this is what Karaman says about the app. Quote, it's been a really big disaster, admits Karaman. People are really disappointed. And yeah, it goes at length with the whole thing. But this is the interview with Hassan Karaman himself. He does set the record straight. And yeah, Ricky, what are your thoughts?
He said he's trying to set the record straight, but it's not straight enough. Just give us a legit trailer. Show us what the game looks like. Just tell us what's going on already, and just get this over with. Him doing, this more article saying all these things, it does not help. It does not help. The biggest thing that will help clear this thing up is to give us the goddamn trailer. Just show us whatever you want us to see from that stupid app already, and get this over with. At this point, I'm just like, I can say I'm just like sick and tired of seeing anything abandoned related. It's just like, get this over with already. Can we move on? Just tell us your game is trash, so we don't have to deal with it anymore, and that's it. So like you basically ruin your career. As well, start a whole new studio, make a whole new game because everyone's gonna hate on it.
Yeah.
They've already done too much damage. They have already done too much to kind of hint at it. And freaking Kojima, he didn't help. Unless they're still trying to mess with us.
Yeah.
The fact that like he posted that picture of himself, the zipper and all the bullshit in typical Kojima fashion, like just goddamn. Sometimes like as much as I like that guy, sometimes I just hate him.
Yeah. With abandoned, I've abandoned it basically in my head.
Basically, at this point, like I just don't want to hear anything more to do with it. But at the same time, like it just keeps popping up, and I can't help it, right?
That's what I love about it. There's the whole drama around it, but
yeah.
I don't know. After my experience last week with abandoned real time experience, whatever nonsense that happened last week, like I really did kind of just wrote off it being Kojima related.
Yeah.
But still like Silent Hill and like Metal Gear related, there was like a still chance, a small chance, a small little bit of belief inside in my head that there could be a chance that this is
actually, like I'm a little other way around. Like I felt like I didn't think it will be Silent Hill or Metal Gear related. Although I still believe there's a chance it'll be Kojima related. That's how I see it.
Interesting.
Because I really don't see Konami just giving up their IPs like that.
Yeah.
Konami's being the I don't know if I should say this word, but like being who they are. Let's just put it this way: Konami being Konami.
Yeah.
And how they prioritize their freaking pachinko's machines in Japan. They're not gonna give up those IPs unless Sony paid a good price for it.
Yeah.
So that's why, like deep down, I'm thinking, okay, they can tease it. They already pretty early on. They already denied that this has anything to do with Silent Hill. And then that whole picture of the dude of the eye patch is like, it could be anything, right? It might be Metal Gear, but it could be something else entirely.
Yeah. Well, I didn't read the whole article or the interview, but he does mention that that blurred image of the guy with the eye patch, that's the antagonist in the game. That's like the main bad guy of the game. It just so happens to be a coincidence, and that's just the thing.
It's not a coincidence. You know them all. Like he did it on purpose. They know it's gonna get people riled up.
I mean, there's still a small, tiny chance that they just did not have the foresight to see any of this happen, and it just so many mistakes.
Like what other reasons would you put a blurred face of your antagonist? Not even your protagonist. Your antagonist on its Twitter, blur it out. Who has an eye patch and has this eerily similar features to freaking Snake.
Yeah,
that has to be done on purpose. I don't believe for a second. Like if you work in the gaming industry, you should know. Like you must know what Snake looks like. For them to put that on, like how can you put that picture on, look at it, and you don't think to yourself that it looks like Snake?
Yeah,
not a chance. If you don't know, then you don't deserve to be working in the gaming industry.
That's a hot take. Woo! That was spicy. For me, like I still see them as an indie studio. They're way in over their heads with this level of marketing. with the real-time experience, they are ambitious. Let's get that
Yeah.
like out there. They are
Yeah.
definitely ambitious. They're definitely like they have a game that they're creating, and they really want people to get excited for. But what you think about for promoting your game, like how it plays out in your head versus how it plays out in reality, like this is exactly what
It's
happens. Like
yeah,
we're
basically.
talking about it right now. For the
Like
past
they had a
month, it's been a crazy train wreck.
yeah, like I felt like they had a vision. There's a certain thing they want to accomplish, but it didn't exactly turn out how they
Yeah,
wanted. And then things just got out of hand, and it's too much.
yeah. My,
It's like trying to put out a fire, but with like a forest fire with like a bucket of water. That's what's they're dealing with right now. At least I feel like that's what's going on right now.
yeah, like I used to think that there was all this mystery surrounding Abandoned, and Kojima's working behind the scenes, and this was going to be some type of big bamboozle in the gaming industry. But now, like after reading this interview and my experience with the real time experience app for
The app,
Abandoned,
yeah,
like now I'm just like, okay, they're just an indie studio that
yeah,
they are really in this hole that they dug for themselves,
yeah,
and they're trying to come out. The hype
and
for Abandoned is gonna dramatically decline and decrease after this interview. But there's still gonna be people that they're like, nah, it's still Kojima.
yeah. Well,
But
we'll see. We'll wait till the game actually comes out and see what the game was actually like. Then I feel like that's when we can finally make our final judgment on it.
yeah, that with that being said, like I think right now setting our expectation for what it's going to be. For me now, I'm setting my expectation now. It's not a Kojima game. It's not Silent Hill. It's
Yeah,
not Metal Gear. It's an indie
just
studio trying to make a really good looking survival game.
shooter game. Yeah,
Yeah, on the like a PlayStation 5 exclusive. And they just wanted to show off how good it looks on the PlayStation 5, right?
yeah,
Cuz I can understand when you put it on YouTube, it doesn't do it justice. They put a Twitter video on, and like they
oh
made a
yeah,
lot
that
of
doesn't
mistakes.
do it
They made a lot of
justice.
mistakes, but I can understand why they wanted to
Yeah,
put it on the real-time experience app on the PlayStation
yeah,
5 because it does look really good. What
yeah,
with what I saw, that's a good-looking wooden floor. That's
yeah.
good-looking jeans. Those good-looking boots.
And I feel like
And
maybe they're just trying to imitate Kojima and have a little fun with how they present the game, and it just got out of hand. And
yeah,
everyone just started thinking it's Kojima. So, like when I think of it that way, I feel like some sympathy for them because it's at the beginning it just seems like harmless fun, right? Just like, hey, let's try to tease it and add some mystery to it, and everyone just takes it. It's like as soon as they see that, they automatically equate that to Kojima, and they're like, oh shit, Kojima, Silent Hill.
I I've been on so many sides of this like thought process or train of thought, uh, or school of thought. Um, at one point, I was this is absolutely Kojima, and now I'm like, yo, they had no
Absolutely
idea
not.
what they were doing. They did not have the foresight to predict that people would take all of their little teasers and run in the opposite direction with it, and they just like, oh no, what do we do now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
people were like they were digging deep. They were digging deep into all the coincidence thing. Damn.
I would say this is a blessing for them because like if they did it all properly and they didn't try to or all of this Silent Hill talk and Kojima talk didn't surround this game wouldn't be as talked about as it is now.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see. I think the end results, though, we're still waiting for that to see
yeah.
how this game turns out or ends up.
Ricky,
Yeah.
number 2, Last of Us Battle Royale. I have here a story on IGN that talks about some data miners that found some files within Last of Us Part 2 that could possibly reference a Battle Royale in the works. I can read this thing. So, Jared Moore on IGN writes, The Last of Us Part 2 includes scrapped multiplayer files, possible Battle Royale reference. Could Battle Royale factor into factions too? He writes, Data miners have unearthed a range of leftover assets from The Last of Us Part 2, which show off a range of multiplayer files, as well as a possible nod to what could have been a Battle Royale mode. The multiplayer assets were spotted by Speclizer, a data miner who posted the finds in a comprehensive video on their YouTube channel. A, quote, listen mode device and handheld TV were found within the scrapped multiplayer assets, which may potentially have aided players' senses within the game. They also found a collar asset, which suggests that dogs could have featured in the game's multiplayer. Speclizer was also able to piece together assets that suggest that a multiplayer map could have been in production for the game that would have been large enough for a Battle Royale style game mode. The data miner said that they had also found a compass and player count in the development footage for the game, the latter of which is particularly prevalent in Battle Royale games. Assets linked to multiplayer equipment in the find suggest that players might have had access to tier-leveled armor. Whilst this far from confirms that a Battle Royale was in production, it's a similar in style to that used by Apex Legends and PUBG, where players are granted varying degrees of health benefits by helmets and armored vests. And there's a tweet here by Speclizer himself showing off some of the assets. Oh, I didn't even change it here. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is the article I've been reading. Naughty Dog confirmed in 2019 that The Last of Us Part 2 would not include an online mode. The company tweeted at the time saying that this was in part due to the highly ambitious nature of its single-player campaign. Despite opting not to include multiplayer, the company did note that players would eventually be able to experience the team's online ambition at a later date. Earlier this year, job listings revealed that Naughty Dog was hiring for a multiplayer game that is built for longevity. Whether or not that project is a standalone version of Last of Us's Factions multiplayer is unclear. However, a Battle Royale mode set in Series' post-apocalyptic world paired with established Factions gameplay could add some unique and interesting features to the Battle Royale realm. Ricky, what do you think about The Last of Us Part 2 Battle Royale?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Naughty Dogs, by the gods, don't do it. The Last of Us world.
Why?
I don't think The Last of Us world lends itself well to be a Battle Royale game. Because one of the biggest selling point is for Battle Royale or even hero shooters is having different classes, different heroes. But in a setting like that, it's kind of hard to have characters that really differentiates itself from each other. That is kind of the problem. Like, I haven't played that many Battle Royales myself. I've only really played Apex, for a few matches. And even
100% win rate here. You're talking to a guy that's 100% win rate.
I've never lost. Undefeated
In Battle Royale. So he's the Battle Royale king.
But yeah, even from my limited time with Battle Royale, or at least in Apex, I can tell each heroes, they're unique itself. That you can have a pretty different play style. But in Last of Us, is like, what can you really do? You can have a dude with a dog, and you can have scouts and different classes, a typical class, right? But looks wise, how do you make them differentiate from each other? That is, visually, that is the biggest obstacle they have. Well, it's the world, in terms of gears and get up equipment, they all look very similar. Versus something like I don't know about G or Fortnite. I guess Fortnite you can have different skins, but Apex, every character, they look different. They look the part. You have your Pathfinder, looks like you have a robot and stuff, and you have Gibraltar, it's a big tank, looks like a tank.
Yeah.
So it has a bit of that character to it, to each class. So if versus in the Last of Us universe, how do you really do that?
Well,
without making it too silly.
Yeah, I understand your point, but for battle royales, Like what you're mentioning is like hero battle royales. There's certain classes for the characters
Yeah.
that you would play, but that's not in every battle royale. Like battle royales like Fortnite and PUBG. Like you're just like everyone else. You just have like customizable cosmetics, but you're basically a character in the game that is exactly the same as everyone else. And what you
Yeah.
do is you just drop. All you start off with is your glider and your pickaxe, and that's it. Like everyone is literally the same for Fortnite. And I don't have experience with PUBG, but I imagine it's the same. Like you just drop down with you're naked, and you pick up loot on the way. So I would say it's gonna be if this Last of Us game were to be this multiplayer mode would be battle royale, I would say it lends more towards being in, like Fortnite and PUBG, where everyone is the same, and then drop and pick up the loot as you go, and not you don't choose your class, and you have different abilities and things like that. I don't think it would do that.
Well, like they could do all those, but the thing is, it's already been done, right? They had, like to kind of succeed in the battle royale scene, so to speak, they have to differentiate themselves from other games. So if they're not going to do hero, they're going to do what, like the Fortnite style, where you just belt stuff or just collect stuff and that's stuff, right? But that's already been done by Fortnite, the king of battle royale. So it's dumb to actually go head on in the exact same play style. So they have to change it one way or the other. But that's the thing. I don't see how they can do that in that universe.
Have you ever played?
If they're making like a Naughty Dog universe battle royale, that's a different story. But if it's strictly Last of Us, I don't see it happening.
Have you ever played the multiplayer mode for Last of Us Part 1?
Nope.
Factions.
Nope.
Never tried it.
Never tried it.
Have you tried the multiplayer for Uncharted?
I have seen it. I haven't played it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I have experience with Naughty Dog multiplayer. And I noticed that you're probably looking at your stream. For those of you tuning in, we're recording our podcast, so we won't be responding to any chat messages. So for the next 30 minutes, we're just going to be doing our podcast recording, and then we'll have a post show. You can join into the discussion about everything that we were talking about. But anyway, I've personally played Uncharted multiplayer and The Last of Us factions, and their multiplayer, the way they handled it, it very much embodied the character of the game, and it was well done, especially for like Uncharted 4. It's like, that same gameplay loop of like running and shooting and grappling, parkour, platforming, and it was smooth. It felt good, and like it felt like a AAA multiplayer game because of how well Naughty Dog does its animations. And for factions, like the Last of Us Part 1 factions, crafting was such an important aspect of that multiplayer. It really did feel like it had a very different feel for it compared to other multiplayer modes that had the same team deathmatch, search and destroy type of game mode for multiplayer PvP. But the crafting system and it was just in Last of Us Part 1.
I guess,
right?
I guess
it did make it feel
crafting
unique.
will make a difference.
Yeah, because when I saw that Last of Us Part 2 or the Factions 2 could possibly be Battle Royale, I immediately recalled my experience with Factions, and I was like, this could be a great multiplayer experience. Especially like if they definitely won't do like hero shooter or classes.
No, like well, I hope they don't, because like I said, it's not gonna work.
The best parts of Last of Us Part 2 were definitely the encounters when you're fighting against other, NPCs or whatever. The AI was incredible, right? And the animations, like the transitions from stealth into like full on combat and trying to get out of combat, retreating, just like that back and forth between, trying to survive, trying to manage your resources in crafting, and trying to just stay alive, transition that into just like that is all you're gonna do in this battle royale, like that's gonna be an incredible experience.
I guess another and another good thing they could have going on for it might be the maps and terrain, I guess. Because Last of Us 2 has a lot of buildings you can kind of run around, hop around and stuff, right? Like I know they have a bit of that in Call of Duty. I forgot what the battle royale mode is called.
The Warzone, yeah.
Warzone, okay, yeah. So there's they have some buildings here and there you can hide in there and stuff. But I felt like the Last of Us 2 world will provide an even better map.
That's the thing that like kind of excites me about the idea of The Last of Us Battle Royale. This is going to be the most premium Battle Royale that would ever be, because this is Naughty Dog we're talking about. And it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive, you know?
Well, we'll see, because they're we've seen Sony port games over to PC, so who knows, right? And if there's a big enough demand, they might put it there to make more money. And if this actually is legit, I personally, as a non-shooter guy, I want this game to have more focus on crafting and items and using gadgets than shooting.
That's the thing that excites me, because like crafting is a big deal in The Last of Us.
Just go around crafting ships and just going to people. Just like, that would be the perfect battle royale for me. I don't have to shoot.
Exactly. Like you just take the mechanics that make the Last of Us Part 2 really great, and you put them into a battle royale, and I think that's going to be a good experience. I'm just imagining it right now, because with factions, the crafting was a big deal, and like you can craft pipe bombs on the fly, craft traps on the fly, things like that of that nature, and it excites me. That's going to be a next gen battle royale, because I would imagine they're going to make it like a PS5 exclusive. If they also like that article, it says they're hiring for a multiplayer game for longevity. This might be free to play.
It might be, right? Although if that's said, they might have to kind of tone down the graphics a little bit, because ideally for a battle royale game like that, I would like to see it be 60 frames, because The Last of Us 2, it's 30 frames, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, I think you have the option to change it to lean more into performance, but ideally it should be 60 frames. So that said, they might have to tone down the graphics a little bit, especially if they do plan on releasing this for the PS4 as well. Because I'm not sure. Well, it's just speculations, rumors. Right? We don't know what console this will be released on.
Yeah.
But if I have to put money on it, I would say it will be cross-gen.
Yeah. That would be the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
But I have every faith that Naughty Dog will make it come out looking beautiful. Like, I'm just thinking back to that part in Last of Us Part 2 where you're on the horse with Dina and you go into like the open world-ish part of the game, like you're in Seattle, and you're just exploring different parts.
Oh, that map, that open world type of map, that
like pseudo open world.
That kind of. So like a map like that, you just have to expand it a little bit more. And there's already a lot of buildings in there, right? So it's perfect.
Exactly. And that looks good. That plays on a base PS4.
Yeah.
Oh,
and another thing is, though, I hope they can find some innovative way to give us a different excuse for the stupid circle. I'm so sick of seeing that circle, that storm coming in. Like, it's so stupid. I hate that. I've seen it so many times, like, fucking circle coming in, or poison cloud, or whatever. Give us something else, man. Think of a more innovative way to shrink the map, please.
Like, what would satisfy you if they called it something else? If they made it like at least clever, or
like just something clever and
instead of calling it a circle.
Instead of calling a circle or the storm or the poison gas, whatever. Right? Just like why is the storm in a circle closing in? That makes no sense. Why is a poison cloud poison cloud is a different thing. But I think or just like a whatever it is in Apex, just an orange zone kind of zone, closing in. It's like, what even is that? Give us a legit reason why the map is shrinking.
I think we're forgetting also that Last of Us is a survival horror game with zombies.
So that's what I'm thinking. Like if the circle is just a bunch of like runners and
clickers,
just like clickers,
there's a bunch
coming
of
in for
different That would be dope as hell.
Yeah, yeah.
They're just like closing in. They're spawning more and more as time goes on, and they're coming in. They're closing in. Oh
And
man.
if you're standing inside that quote unquote circle, outside the circle, like you're getting dragged on by all these guys who are trying to like run and escape it. Come on, Naughty Dogs! I'm giving you ideas, man.
Look at Ricky here. At first, when I told him this news, he's like shaking his head. Now look at him.
Now I'm excited. Please, Naughty Dogs, give me a battle royale I can actually play.
Yeah, I think that would like with the crafting plus the zombie.
The zombie theme and the
aspect of it.
movement options. Yeah, that it could potentially it could be a
This makes
interesting battle royale.
Makes me hype. This makes me hype about it. But yeah.
All right.
Anyway, moving on. On the next item on our report, Outriders hasn't broken even. So.
Oh no. Oh no, Square Enix. What's happened to you guys? Millions of players later. Still waiting for money. Wait.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Okay, there you go.
Ari Notice on Kotaku writes, millions of players later, Outriders devs still waiting for money. Developer People Can Fly suspects this means that Square Enix hasn't broken even yet. He writes, that's pretty short. I'll read it. By the numbers, Outriders is one of the year's big success stories. And yet, developer People Can Fly apparently hasn't received any royalties from Square Enix, the loot shooters publisher. As reported by VGC, People Can Fly wrote in an investor note that, quote, this probably means that, in Square Enix's opinion, Outriders has not exceeded the break-even point, end quote. Outriders, a third-person shooter with a heavy focus on cooperative play, casts players as exoplanetary explorers who wield tremendous space magic. Whereas many games in the genre urge you to duck behind cover for safety, Outriders features a Doom-like gimmick. Killing enemies heals you, forcing you to take on more risks than you would in Gears of War. Millions of players seem to get a kick out of it, at least in the early goings. Square Enix did not immediately respond to a request for comment from Kotaku. Initially planned for a February 2021 release, Outriders was delayed to an April 1st release. When the cooperative sci-fi shooter launched, it did so as part of the Xbox Game Pass library as an effort to build a solid player base from the jump. But, like every online game ever, it released in what one could charitably call a totally busted state, including multiplayer disconnects, server shutdowns, and some random but temporarily irreversible inventory wipes. A May 5th patch eventually restored lost gear. Those issues plagued the game well into launch. A whole month after release, some players still had trouble even getting into the game's lobby. And it goes on from there, but we got the gist of it. If you want to get more details on it, Kotaku.
Damn.
Damn. Ricky.
Well, the game is busted in the first month. Like there's, having glitches and stuff there, in the first month to what we just heard.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't even connect to the game or your inventory getting wiped, what do you mean your inventory getting wiped?
Yeah, and imagine like they released the patch on May 5th.
Like
right? You have to wait a month. If you you have to wait a month for your gear. That sucks.
Like if you say like the game balance wise is kind of bad or it's a little small glitch here and there, okay, people can put up with that. But when it's that bad, I have no sympathy for them.
Mm-hmm.
That is like it goes back to the stupid trend where devs are just rushing to release the game to just, I guess, in time for that to meet that quarter deadline, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's just dumb. Like ideally, looking at that or hearing the stories about that, they should have delayed it for another month or 2 months to polish it up, then release it.
Yeah. I have some extra things to read here, just a little bit, and just to give us maybe a little bit more context on the situation. The article continues, but the bumps in the road clearly didn't affect how many people played the game.
Yeah.
In May, Square Enix said that Outriders is on track to become the company's next major franchise, while noting that more than 3.5 million played the game over the first month. It's unclear how many of those came to the game via Game Pass. Microsoft doesn't publicize such stats. That said, a week and a half after launch, it was the second most popular game on Xbox Game Pass. And in June, Square Enix president Yosuke Matsuda said that, quote, the digital sales ratio for the title have been very high, and the number of active users has also been our expectations, end quote.
So the hype was there, the interest is there. It's just their execution. They botched it. They botched it. It comes down to, like, especially the game came out earlier this year in April. Have they not learned anything by watching goddamn Project Red? Is that CD Project Red? Something like that. That's the name, right?
It was like how many months is that? From February to April. That's 2 months. 2 month delay.
2 months. Yeah,
or a month and a half.
Or they could have delayed it further. Like, just look at what happened to Cyberpunk from last year. After seeing that, like, don't they have the freaking brain to even like tell us stuff that, okay, let's not repeat that mistake. That mess taught us all a very good lesson. Release the game in a decent shape, in a decent state, then people will play it.
Yeah.
But no, they have to go and this potential franchise.
This isn't even the second looter shooter or looter type game from Square Enix. Everyone, you remember the Avengers? Like, they have that under their belt too.
I forgot that was them too.
Square Enix.
That was a mess too. Yeah, so there's no excuse. Well, they're just the publishers though, right? But still, even then, like, if anyone in there working there have half a brain, they would have looked at the game, asked them, and it's like, do you think it's ready yet? Like, don't repeat that mistake from Cyberpunk, because that will kill your company.
Yeah. But the thing is that 3.5 million people still played it, even in that state, right? That's not a small number. That's actually really good.
It's a lot of people for a brand new IP. And I was just gonna say earlier, like, we've played the demo or the beta before.
Yeah.
Before it came out, it was pretty fun. It was fun. Like, I had fun of it. So I had some expectations. Like, I did plan on getting it at some point, but it just, after it came out, and then I just felt like the hype kind of died down. I never really looked into why, but I guess this is why.
Yeah, I'm not a business person. I'm not a dev. I don't make games. I'm just a guy that plays the games and talk to it with his friend. Talk about games with his friend. So I can't really say much about, like, what they should have done, what could have happened and this and that. I just observe and say my take. So what I see here is like 3.5 million players, and we can see that Game Pass has a lot to do with that. I can't imagine, 3.5 million players playing Outriders and you haven't made money on it yet. Like, how does that even make sense? Like, this kind of calls into question, how profitable is Game Pass
for the devs.
Yeah, for the devs, exactly. Like, it's a balancing act, right? For people that are interested in the game, but they don't want to commit $60, $70, $80, $90 to play it, right? Not even knowing if they're gonna like it. And they have the option, like, it's on Game Pass day one. Like, I'm just gonna go get it on Game Pass.
That makes me wonder if they release the data or numbers for how many were sold on PS4, like, kind of
like
hinting at our next topic.
Yeah. Exactly. On our next topic, dealing with Game Pass, we're going to talk about that. 93% of Hades' box sales are on PlayStation when it released on PlayStation and Xbox. When did it release? I need to find a date for that. You know?
I felt like it's like a month or two ago. Like, it was like around E3 time, I feel like.
Let me just get a quick.
I think it was announced at.
Oh no! Like, just like 5 days ago, August 13th.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Because I remember this being announced during E3. They're saying, like, it's finally coming to Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah. So 93% of Hades' box sales are on PlayStation, raising it an Xbox Game Pass question. Paul Tassi on Forbes writes, a whole lot of people are discovering the magic of Hades for the first time with the game's release onto consoles with a new box copy and its arrival on Game Pass at the same time. Last year's Game of the Year contender / winner in many circles is a joy to play, but some numbers about how it's performing are interesting, to say the least. In the UK, we have the data that shows that 70% of Hades box sales are on PS5 and 23% are on PS4 and 7% on Xbox. So 93% of Hades let me start again. So 93% of Hades sales being on PlayStation has naturally become ammo loaded into a console wars machine gun being fired towards Xbox. Of course, the obvious answer is, well, duh. Hades is out on Game Pass, but it's a little more complicated than that and probably worth exploring. Microsoft has previously said that one advantage of Game Pass is the potential for significant sales of a game, and we have seen this happen at times. Rage Squid's Senders reported a sales increase of 5 times after appearing on Game Pass. Microsoft reports that Game Pass players spend 20% more time gaming, play 30% more total game in general, and explore more different genres. All of this can lead to increased sales for games that may not have otherwise been discovered. I'll just finish this. It's a little bit short here. There's also the fact that Microsoft is paying for these games to be on Game Pass. So for instance, if Microsoft paid Hades an amount that is comparable to those 93% of Sony sales, then Supergiant shouldn't really care where their money is coming from. But is that the case? We simply don't know. And I don't think it's necessarily true that every game benefits from a Game Pass release. We don't have all the data for every title, but I just finished writing an article where People Can Fly hasn't made any royalties from Outriders. We just read that. Given that it has not recouped its development costs, the estimated sales should have bridged that gap right now. But Square Enix launched the game on Game Pass, cutting out many potential Xbox sales in favor of player-based acquisition. But Outriders, for instance, is a game with no season passes, no DLC, no microtransactions. So once you get it on Game Pass, you have the whole thing. Hades 2, but that's different than, say, Destiny 2. Launching a new expansion on Game Pass, as even if that's free, you still have past DLC and season passes, and a microtransaction store that can earn money from Game Pass players. In short, it's complicated. While I agree that the numbers don't look great in the case of Hades, we simply don't have enough information to know if the Game Pass deal is helping or hurting it. Certainly more people are playing it, but without question the specifics of how much Microsoft paid for it, it's hard to tell the end result, as it is for really any Game Pass game. Again, written by Paul Tassi on Forbes.
This is something we've talked about, well, between me and you and a few of our other friends who are kind of Game Pass or Xbox supporters. We've presented the idea that Game Pass, it's a double-edged sword. It could provide users easy access to a bunch of games, but we don't know if the devs are getting fairly or properly compensated for it. I feel like Hades, it's fine in this case, because Microsoft got Hades after it's all these awards and acclaim and all these praises, right? So I'm sure Supergiant will probably ask for a bigger price for the game, right? I would assume that. I'm guessing because of how well received their game is, Microsoft probably had to pay more to put their game on to Game Pass. But if Hades was on Game Pass day one, this might be a different story. Because both parties, like Microsoft and Supergiant, think, okay, this game has potential, but we don't know how much it could sell or how popular it could be. So they might end up being underpaid.
And that might have been the case for Outriders. Yeah.
So it's kind of like I said, double-edged sword, right? Because a lot of indie games, you don't know for sure how successful it will be. Because if you don't try, like there might be a chance that they might benefit from the Game Pass because there's not that much interest in the game, but they still end up getting a decent chunk of money because of Game Pass.
Yeah,
it's kind of it's a difficult topic, especially when Microsoft they don't give us the actual figures.
Exactly.
We don't know how good or bad this is for the devs. I guess time will have to tell. I kind of going back to Outriders, like the fact that at one point they have 3.5 million player base, and they they haven't broken even. That's kind of a pretty concerning tale
Yeah, for sure.
of
For sure.
how much they're actually getting paid by Game Pass.
But that's the thing as well with, well, going back to Outriders, the article did mention that, Outriders, it is what it is. You get the full game, that's it. There's no DLC, no microtransactions,
Yeah.
that's it. So that might have been like on Square Enix's side for how they don't have money, right? So whatever the buyout or whatever the payment lump sum they got for the game going on Game Pass, that's it. You're not getting any more, right? And
That said,
then
I don't think a game has to, like, especially like a non free to play game, like it shouldn't have to rely on DLCs to make a profit.
yeah, but that's the thing with games going on Game Pass. Like you have, that's it. But especially
like-
for like Xbox exclusives, because you're not getting it anywhere else. It's gonna be on Game Pass. So
or maybe a PC.
on PC, well, PC has Game Pass as well. So, and that's just part of the ecosystem. So I think when we see more of a certain series start to make or come out with more games on Game Pass itself, like if Halo Infinite, that becomes a success, and we get another Halo Infinite after that, that means that, okay, Microsoft is willing to pay the same amount, if not more, for that type of game to be on Game Pass again.
Yeah.
Right, because they made that much money. But for indie games, indie developers,
Yeah, indie developers, that is, it's a gamble. It's a gamble
Yeah.
because if you go with Game Pass, you can basically guaranteed you'll get a chunk of money. You can basically guarantee some like amount of profit, but at the same time, you're killing whatever potential you have of astounding success.
Mhm.
Like I said, Hades, if they went to Game Pass day one, they would have been screwed. They would have been completely screwed over.
yeah,
How many copies they could have sold?
yeah. No, you
Whereas
bring up
another
a good
game
point
like
right there.
yeah, another game like well, I don't know how well Chris tells is it's selling, but based on my experience, the game could use a lot more work. It's not the most polished game, so it might not sell as many copies. But because of them being on Game Pass, they might have gotten a decent amount of return, right, in terms of money, I guess, or profit.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there's
that-
two sides of it.
Yeah, and yeah, the whole thing with Game Pass, like you've been saying, double-edged sword. Like it allows more people to play the games that they
Yeah.
would have otherwise not have bought the game.
Pretty much, yeah. I
Right.
think that article even said like people are exploring more genres, so that is good, right? That aspect of Game Pass is really good.
Yeah, but still,
Especially
like
for,
if more players are experiencing and exploring those new genres, right? Will there be more games in those genres that they like if Game Pass isn't providing enough money for the devs?
That's the thing,
You're
right?
gonna have players they're broad in their taste. They have games that they want to try more of, like roguelites and these different type of indie games, but they won't be on Game Pass anymore because now developers are seeing like, ooh, we're not getting as much money on Game Pass as opposed to when we released it on PlayStation. But then there's like, that's a whole other subject. I know in the past, like PlayStation news has come up with how they treat indie developers. Like it's very hard to get your game on the store.
Yeah. Back in the PS3 days, I think. Yeah.
No, it's just like recently. Like
It's recent. Oh yeah, even recently. Yeah.
even recently. They're very like strict with the type of games that they have on the store.
Really, that's kind of hard to believe. He's looking at the PSN store. Some games, I'm like, wait, like
Well, they're the ones that they put up a fight to get their
Really?
game on the store. But I've seen on Twitter like developers come out and say like, oh, like dealing with PlayStation is so hard compared to dealing with Xbox and Nintendo getting our games on their store, right? So for indie developers, making games is just that much harder for them, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you go on Game Pass, more people will play, but like, will you get as big of a payout? On the other
Return.
hand, if you put it on PlayStation, like it's just gonna be hard to get on a PlayStation.
Yeah, it's a much bigger gamble. So time will tell. Time will tell if this thing works out or not. And then there's always the possibility once they have enough player base, Microsoft might just jack up the price too, right?
That's true. That's true.
Because we've talked about this, how that this model is not exactly sustainable in the long term, so they will have to increase the price at some point. Even PlayStation Now for like $14 a month, there's quite a lot of games you can play. Although the options isn't that good from what I've seen, but
it's
still,
a lot better now. I'll tell you,
it's a lot better now compared to like last year. Like now, at least, like I'm able to play Judgment on it through PS Now.
PlayStation Now is actually amazing if you haven't been playing PlayStation for a while. Like if you went from PS3 to PS5 and you get PS Now, like okay, that's definitely a great deal. That's a steal. Plus PlayStation Plus, the collection on the PS5, like
you get a lot of games there too. Yeah,
you got a lot of games there. But yeah, time will tell with Game Pass. I hope that people can fly will get their money.
Yeah, like for me as a consumer, I welcome it. I like it. You know, like most people know
I get to play games that we have.
Yeah, even though I don't like Xbox, I don't like Microsoft, but I have to admit, Game Pass, it's a really good deal for a consumer.
Let me tell you.
I'm just worried about the devs. Like, are they getting enough? Like, hope this is not killing the devs.
Yeah, I'll share my story and then we'll end the podcast. Short. Yeah. I'm broke as hell. Thank God for Game Pass. Ever since leaving my job back in April, you know, funds have been right. And then, you know, I'll look at Game Pass and like, that's a lot of games that can, you know, that I've been wanting to play. And
you can
cheap
play
price.
it there.
So, you know, thank you, Microsoft, for supporting the broke gamers out there. Like I said, I'm a reformed PlayStation fanboy. But yeah, that has been our show for August 18th, 2021. We talked about Abandoned Again, Last of Us Battle Royale.
Hopefully for the last time. It's not going to be the last time.
No.
We're gonna
it hasn't even come out yet.
Again.
It barely has even revealed anything. We're gonna see it. We're gonna talk about it for sure.
when it comes out. When it comes out, we'll talk about it again.
Outriders and the Game Pass.
And Game Pass. Yeah.
So Ricky, where can people find you?
Time to show. So you can find me on twitch.tv/BaconBeercan. I stream all sorts of games up there. Especially if you're into some niche Japanese games, you might see me playing those. I have Instagram, but I rarely update it, so it might as well not exist.
Right.
So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, for me, you can find me on twitch.tv/MojoCritical. I stream semi-regularly. It's up and down. I'm more concentrating on doing this show. I enjoy doing this a lot more than streaming. I'm probably going to make this a stream as well. Similar to what Ricky's doing right now. Probably looking at his chat, seeing what people are saying. I don't know what they're saying, but I'll join.
A lot of stuff.
We're gonna have a. I think we'll make this a regular thing. We'll have an open discussion, open like post.
One of these days we'll
show.
make it open. Yeah.
No, just like when we're recording these podcasts, these reports.
Just streaming it.
We'll stream it and then do the regular thing for the hour, and then after we'll have a post show, and then we'll join the discussion with everyone in chat. So
okay, I see.
Yeah, this will be on YouTube. So
go check it out. Ludens Report.
If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're listening on like your podcasts, keep listening. We're gonna be uploading more episodes of this regularly each week. Bringing you more news about all stuff gaming, all stuff Ludens. And that's it. News. And that's it for this episode. So again, this has been the Ludens Query Report for August 18, 2021. Again, I am Moses, my friend Ricky. Keep playing, everyone.
We'll see you guys next time.